Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon and good evening. Welcome to the first IRIS certification webinar in 2025. It's a great pleasure today to give you yet another webinar. Just before we start, I would kindly ask you to scan the QR code in the center of the screen. This will allow you to answer a question that will help us start this presentation, and answer and provide questions for the question and answer session towards the end of the webinar. So you can scan the QR code, or you can join us at menti.com with code 89956648. I will repeat, 89956648. You will also see on every slide of ours, on the top right-hand side and the bottom right-hand side, both the code and the QR code, so you can always answer the question and provide your questions for the question and answer session. So just to repeat for the many people joining right now, we wish you a good morning, a good afternoon, or evening. So please scan the QR code in the center of the screen, or join us at menti.com with code 89956648 to provide your questions for the Q&A session at the end of this webinar, and also to answer the first question. Now let's see the responses that you have made. So the question is, have you read the IRIS Certification Performance Assessment 2023 Edition 2? As you may know, you have signed up for a webinar that will detail the specificities at a high level of the changes within the Edition 2 of our IRIS Certification Performance Assessment 2023. So this is interesting for both of the speakers, Rashid and Ursula, to see that we have around 35 or so people that have read it, and just about the same people that have not yet read it. So that's great for both types of people. Those who read it, they will have some reiterations and maybe clarifications to questions you may had. And now, yes, now those that have not read it, the 45 of you, will really get more detailed specificities. So that's quite interesting, and I will get back to these results when we do the Q&A session. So now, without further ado, let's go to the presentation. And you will see on the next, perfect. You will see that today, as explained, is the first webinar of IRIS certification in 2025. And today we will detail the specificities of the changes in the second edition of the IRIS Certification Performance Assessment 2023 publication. So on the next slide, you will see the agenda. Mr. Rashid Irba, IRIS General Manager, will go into some key messages from the IRIS Management Center perspective and provide his usual welcome and introduction. Then it will be followed by Ms. Ursula Tacker going into the detailed specificities on the updates, the changes in the second edition of the Performance Assessment 2023 publication. And then we will have a Q&A session at the end. So I repeat, on the top right of this screen and on the bottom right of this screen, you can go to our menti.com and you can answer you can ask as many questions as you want, and we will do our utmost best to answer them at the end of the session. Thank you very much. Then, Rashid, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Anish. Hello, everyone. I'm really happy again to be there with you for this first webinar 2025. So first of all, I really wish you a very nice year and good year for 2025 with a lot of success and obviously a lot of success for your IRIS certification if you have some IRIS audits scheduled for this year. So today I will give you some key messages from the IRIS Management Center. I would like also to give you a bit of update on the revision 4 and just to give you some overview, and also explain you the few I will say, changes we have made for the edition 2, for which Ursula will provide all the details later on. All right. So, very important topic where I know that it has been raised and discussed with a lot of companies and certification body regarding the quality performance level, you know, the QPL, the bronze, the gold, and the silver level. For your information, this has been actively resumed at the end of 2024. Based on the revision 4. So we have made a huge progress regarding the number of certificates that were pending. So this was also, I would say, a good opportunity to reach out to a few companies and also understand the issues. And we hope that we have given a lot of information about the QPL. For your information, we are also going to release some, I would say, official information to your certification body regarding the criteria regarding the QPL to give you a bit more of information about this topic, which is raising quite a lot of questions. From the IT perspective, as you might know, we had a bit of issues mid of last year regarding typically the scoring from the audits. For your, I would say, information, we have also made a very good success on that. We have tackled all those kind of issues. And we continue also with our roadmap to continue fixing all the small bugs that you can face during your audit. So we are also putting a strong focus and huge energy also to make sure that the audit tool is properly working and helping you during your activities. We've made also a significant, I would say, update on the certificate. So you might have seen some difference. So this has been also raised by a few companies and certification bodies asking some questions. So we are happy to say that we have made all the changes and explained the changes also in the edition 2 of the performance assessment. So this is clearly written what the IMC is expecting in terms of certificate. We have received, I would say, quite of questions regarding the product scope, which were mainly the topic, I would say, raised by the companies. We have clearly written what we are expecting and what will facilitate also the reading of your certificate. So for this one, you will have also to cross-check the product scope template that we have put available in the IRIS portal. Lastly, we, as you know, over the time, the revision and the IRIS has changed. Some changes have been communicated through webinars, emails, through the IRIS portal, or through your certification body. So now all the changes and corrigendum that happened in the past has been all recorded in the new edition 2 of the rules. So that's exactly what Ursula is going to explain to you. But now everything has been clearly written and recording into this document. So we hope that it will be very useful for you. Next slide. All right, so a quick overview about the, I would say, achievement of the revision 4 and the numbers of audit that have been performed in 2024. A very good number of audits performed last year, more than 2,300 audits, which is absolutely brilliant. So we are expecting roughly to have the same kind of number of audits also for 2025. So we have already more than 2,000 audits forecasted for 2025. A bit more to come also, probably for this year. But we are pretty, I will say, consistent with the previous numbers of audits. So this is showing, I would say, a very good performance, and also numbers of audits performed by the company remains more or less the same. So it's also a very good sign, making sure that the whole IRIS scheme is still very well promoted over the railway industry. Next slide, please. Great. So again, you will have all the details regarding the Performance Assessment 2023 Edition 2 later on from Ursula. But just a few, I would say, key updates included for this time and all the changes that we have made. We have mainly provided clarification, actually, based on all the feedbacks and return of experience from the companies and the certification body in terms of audit organization, everything related to the execution, documentation, and duration of audits. Likewise, in terms of assessment methodology, we have made also some clarification regarding the certification activity and business category, which was really important as well. Obviously on the QPL also, and especially in the situation of transfer audits. And also regarding the product scope, we have made also, I would say, providing quite a lot of clarification. Maybe the previous shape and explanation was not entirely clear, so we try to make it a bit clearer this time, make sure that there is no ambiguity or misunderstanding. Most importantly, again, and based on the quick survey that Anish has launched at the beginning of this webinar, it's pretty important for you and for your upcoming activities related to IRIS to get your latest update of the edition 2. So here you have two possibilities. If you have already got the first edition, you can easily go on your IRIS portal, register, and get the second edition for free. That's pretty important, as you have already purchased the first edition. For us, this is, I would say, an update, so this is pretty obvious that it's free of charge. So please, for all companies, CBs, people involved on the IRIS scheme, everybody who has already purchased in the past the first edition, please make sure that you are purchasing the edition 2. Otherwise, you will have probably some discrepancy on the understanding, and this can lead quite a lot of issues. On the other side, if you are a first purchaser of the edition 2 of the rules, you can also go and visit the IRIS portal to purchase it and get your copy. So obviously, this copy will be the edition 2. So this is pretty important for the sake of the, I would say, integrity of the IRIS scheme, making sure that everybody is speaking the same language based on this new edition. All right, so without further waiting, I will give the floor to my colleague Ursula Takke, who will explain in details all the modification and changes regarding this new edition. Thank you very much and have a good listening.
So good morning, everybody. Also, a very warm welcome from my side. I will use today the opportunity to guide you through the changes between the IRIS Certification Performance Assessment 2023 first and second edition. As already explained by Rashid, it is mainly clarifications. And what we did is that we collected all the feedbacks from the CBs, from the auditors, from the companies. We prepared an IMC proposal, and all the changes that are now part of the edition 2 were previously approved by the IRQB. So we have gained an official approval before we implemented the changes in the performance assessment. During my speech, I will follow the structure of the performance assessment document itself, so that it then the sequence as I will present is the same as the topics pop up in the performance assessment. And as a support, you will always find the chapter number or an additional reference at the top of each slide. So if you later on want to cross-check things, you can always look at the slide and then find the chapter in the new edition of the performance assessment. And with this, we start in the first slide. So here, this is related to chapter 4.2.2, the certification activities. There we had in the edition 1 a mistake in explaining which activities, certification activities are possible, and here we just corrected. So it's just that we erased here an error in the new edition. In the next slide, we make reference to, again, a certification activity. This is a table 1. In the first edition, we had the business categories and the certification activities, and just, let's say, in the relation, we just put some X's. But for the second editions, we decided to use dots and circles to be more clear. And in the legend, you can see on the right bottom that for all the dots, these shall be applicable. So this is a requirement. And for the circles, depending on the company setup, it can be applicable. So there is no requirement behind this. So it all depends on the setup of the organization. Next slide, please. Here we enter now into the project management setup, which is in a revision of 4, a new topic. As you all know, we had this, as shown on the left, we had this project management decision tree to allow organizations to assess which kind of project management setup fits to their organization. So the outcome was also there, ABC, but it has shown that this decision tree was not so easy to understand. And due to this, we replaced it by the graphic you can see on the right. This is for those of you who are already familiar with the guideline on project management. So this graphic was already part in there. And it is now easier to understand which kind of project management setup it needs to be applied depending on the activities within the organization. So hopefully this eases the process to decide which setup is the best, fits the best to the organization in question. With the next slide, we enter into simplified IRIS certification. As you all are aware, a simplified IRIS certification is also a new topic in IRIS revision 04. And in this table, what we just did is to mention that we are talking about total headcount and total turnover. So if it needs to be decided if an organization is eligible for a simplified IRIS certification, then the total headcount and the total turnover need to be taken into consideration. Later on, we will see the difference of when we only look at the railway-related stuff. But here, for the eligibility, it is the total headcount and the total turnover of the organization, and both needs to be met. With the next slide, we continue within simplified IRIS certification. So in the first edition, we just mentioned the way how the upgrading from simplified IRIS certification to full IRIS certification can be done. And now we have also added, as there are some organizations want to use also this way. We have also explained, as you can see here in red, that it is possible to adapt from simplified, from full IRIS to simplified IRIS after a certification cycle. So there is now also a written rule in place that can be applied for those of you who want to adapt from full IRIS certification to a simplified IRIS certification. With the next slide, we have a little bit adapted the graphic that is explaining the scopes, the product scopes in IRIS certification. This is more or less, if we look at the left side, so at the very bottom, so the lowest level every IRIS auditor that passes the exam can achieve is a components level. So this is the minimum. Depending on the qualification of the auditor or additional trainings or additional exams, we might also grant other scopes like guidance systems or electrical. And this can also be acquired by passing successfully so-called product case studies. So this is important for in the future. So in the future, we only have guidance systems, electrical, mechanical, electronical, and components. So as soon as an auditor has components, guidance, systems, electrical, mechanical, and electronical, he or she is automatically granted the railway vehicles. And for the railway networks, it's comparable. Then only the guidance is not necessary for them. They need to have components, systems, electrical, mechanical, and electronical. So for railway vehicle and railway network, there is no additional, let's say, test or qualification necessary. It's just if the scopes below are achieved, then this one is granted. And for the integration, which is the top level of the scopes, there we have some additional qualifications that need to be fulfilled by the auditors. And this we have already shared with the CBs. And I think actually we have about 35 auditors who are able to audit integration. And as far as I know, we until today, we did not have any integration audit. So let's see, hopefully the first one is happening soon. With the next slide, we again go back to the SME, as I have explained before. For the eligibility for SME, it is important to look at the total staff and the total turnover. But for the audit day calculation for the SME, it is the same approach as for the full audit certification. Here, the number of people in the headcount related to the railway sector needs to be considered. So this text was also, has stayed the same as in edition 1, but during the trainings, especially the auditor refresher trainings, it was differently trained, but this we have now corrected. So for the audit day calculation, in any case, the number of headcount related to the railway sector needs to be taken into consideration. Okay, on the next slide, we go to table 6 in the chapter 5.2.2 for auditing. Here we have just we did just some clarifications. We added the number of days or hours for certain activities, and we limited, for example, the audit day to 8 hours. We limited the night and the time spent in a night shift per audit to 4 hours. We have limited the opening and closing meeting time together to 2 hours. And we allow for the auditor coordination and preparation of the closing meeting per audit together, maximum 4 hours. In the next slide, we cover auditing Note 1. So in the first edition, we had Note 1 and Note 2 related to this auditing activity table. This what is changed now, so that the text from Note 1 has moved to the table related to the audit days, and it's no note anymore. It's now a text that is is not only for information that needs to be considered. So you will find this previous Note 1 now as a text close to the audit day calculation table. This leads to the next slide. Here we are talking about the second note that was allocated to the table I just explained to you. And here we did some changes. So for sure, the Note 2 becomes now Note 1. But we have seen from the feedback we have received that it was not so easy to understand how we recommend the auditor to spend, or the auditors to spend the auditing time. And here, for clarification, I just want to explain again. So the recommendation from our side is that the audit days are adjusted by the lead auditor, that way that 50% of the audit time are allocated to all the assessments. So the enabler assessment, the process performance assessment of the maximum 5 key processes, and the customer perception. So the enabler assessment of the 5 key processes, the process performance of the key processes, and the customer perception assessment. This should be 50% of the audit time, And the rest that needs to be covered during an audit, that shall be the other 50% of the time. So this is our proposal, how the audit time shall be divided in an audit. As a guideline, for sure, depending on the situation, this can be adapted, but to give you as a first hint, please apply this note 1, the now note 1. I will clarify note 1. Okay, next slide. We enter into the audit prerequisites. Here we just did for clarification, we entered into the points or issues that need to be content of the data package. For clarification, we added just this red sentence, so that also if there are audits after changes impacting the RQMS, it is mandatory also that the form changes impacting the RQMS is part of the data package that need to be shared from the organization with the auditor in advance. So this is just for clarification. In the first edition, this was not explicitly mentioned. In the next slide, we are still in the audit prerequisites. And we had, as we have now IRIS certified, bronze, silver, or gold quality performance level, we had also to add in this note the bronze quality performance level. So if the data package is not uploaded on time, it will not be possible for the organizations to achieve one of the 3 quality performance levels. With the next slide, we enter into the data review, requirements related to the data review. So here we have just added that the data review can be done together with the organization. We had some questions here, and there is no rule in place that the organization cannot be involved in the data review. So feel free to perform the data review together with the auditor and the audit team. The next slide makes reference to the readiness review. Here we have a real new rule. Again, we have said that the readiness review can be performed together with the data review, so this is a change. The shall is replaced by a can, but the readiness review can be performed not earlier than 60 days before the start of the audit, and now it's the new rule is, and not later than 30 days before the start of the audit. So this is really a new rule, and that needs to be applied. But we will also, for the, let's say, as a lot of audits are already planned and fixed, we will not apply this rule immediately, as this might directly infect your already fixed audit plannings. So the rule is in place. Everybody who can apply it, please apply. But for those who have already done other arrangements, this will also be possible. We will not punish you or because of this rule was not met. The next slide is covering the certification audit, and here we have not clearly said that also certification audits shall be conducted not on-site or semi-remotely. So depending on the company setup, it is also possible for in a certification audit to have part of the audit team on-site and another part of the audit team is auditing remotely. So as remotely is now allowed in IRIS Revision 04, it is also allowed that certification audit is performed semi-remotely. With this, we go to the next slide. that is applicable for the audits after changes impacting the management system. Here we had in the revision 1, it was already a requirement in place that a readiness review needs to be performed when such an audit with changes happens. But this was only, let's say, an X in a table. And for clarification reasons, we have added the sentence that a readiness review of a minimum 0.5 days is mandatory to be performed for audits after changes impacting the RQMS. So this is no new requirement. It's now just a little bit clearer as it is mentioned in writing now in the text. Okay, next slide. This is the audit execution table. Here we had 2 different issues. As you can see in the column semi-remote, we had in the previous edition where there were 3 mistakes, which we now corrected. So the X's that have been there before are now removed. So this is just the correction of errors. And to be more clear and let's say, and make the table easier readable, we split the lines for surveillance audit and recertification audit. So here the content is the same, but depending on the stars, which 1 star means only remote in exceptional cases, and the 2 stars are related to the clauses that shall be audited on site. And depending on these stars and the combination of the stars and the X's, it's now easier readable, because previously we had the X's and the stars in 1 line. So due to this, we have now decided to have 2 lines allocated to this topic. Okay, next slide. We enter now into the closing meeting. In the closing meeting, we have seen also during witnessing that it's very often not the case that the lead auditor is giving the detailed results for the process performances evaluation to the organization. So they just give general information, but not the specific results for the process performance evaluation. And due to this, we decided to be a little bit more clear here. So we expect that the lead auditor is explaining during the closing meeting in detail the results for the process performance assessment of each of the applicable key processes. Next slide, please. This is also related to the closing meeting. This is a change. So in the past, the rule was in place that at least one improvement action needs to be agreed between the lead auditor and the auditee, and that this improvement action shall be implemented for the following audit if not otherwise agreed. But as we have seen, this we are talking now about 1 year of implementation time maximum. Even this was not very often not met, and due to this we reduced, let's say, the space a little bit. So if the ERRs, 1 or more ERRs are agreed, they shall be implemented in the following audit. This still gives the organization the possibility of 1 year time to implement this improvement action. Next slide, please. This is a correction of a mistake. So we had in chapter 10.1 performance evaluation general, we had this 4 others applicable, but it's only 3 others applicable. So this is a pure error correction topic. Next slide, please. This is the large table that gives the relation between business categories and mandatory processes in IRIS certification. And here we also had some mistakes in, so that we corrected. And also here we decided to implement, instead of the X's and the NA's, the dots and the circles. And as you can see again in the legend, it's more or less the same approach as we had in the previous table with the business category and the certification activities. Here, it's then easier to read now which process is applicable anyways. So they are always applicable, independent from the organizational setup. And for those circles, these, if the processes are applicable or not, then depends on the organizational setup. So I hope that also this clarification will help you in your daily life to better take decisions, what is applicable and what is out. Next slide, please. Here, this is more or less, again, it's related to the improvement actions. And here we have seen that a lot of people had no clear understanding of the text that is in the first edition. And due to this, it's not really a change, it's more or less a simplification of the first English text. So we corrected it, but it is still the same content. So if a committed improvement action has not been closed within the agreed time, it becomes a corrective action in the next audit. And there will be an additional corrective action shall be raised by the auditor to item 10.3-1, continual improvement. So this is a rule that is already in IRIS for years, but we hope that with this adaptation clarification, it is easier for you to understand. We hope that this simplification really helps. Okay, the next on the next slide, we go to the quality performance levels. Here we have now implemented the rule that a maximum of 5% enabler score increase is credible as a yearly improvement. This means last year to this year, it is credible that the enabler score increases by 5%. But if it is more, we have our doubts. This rule was already, I think it was created almost a year ago by the Gold Committee. It was also shared several times with the CBs, but it was not clearly mentioned in the performance assessment, and due to this, we added it here now, that it is now clear that 5% enabler increase from year to year are credible, but more we are not accepting this. Next slide. Again, IRIS QPL. Here we have done also, let's say, a change, or let's say it is a change, but it's also, let's say, understandable. So that in a transfer audit, we added that in the transfer audit, it is not possible to update from silver to gold QPL. So we have seen several activities in the market where the CBs were trying, please change the CB, come to my CB, and it will be easier for you to achieve the gold QPL. To prevent this, we have added this new rule. So if you as an organization want to transfer from one CB to the other, in this audit it is not possible if you are actually a silver QPL holder to upgrade to the gold QPL. Next slide. This is just still QPL, and here again we removed the transfer audit as this is already covered in the previous slide, that for transfer audits we just didn't want to have this in here anymore. As in a transfer audit, an improvement of the QPL is not possible, as I've explained in the previous slide. The last slide now makes reference to the IRIS QPL table, which is at the end of our book. Here is that there is no real, let's say, content change, so the percentages stay the same, and also all the requirements stay the same. For clarification reasons, we have in this quality performance level column, we have instead of the not applicable, we have added the no QPL. So this is only for clarification. And we also have, let's say, a part of the table we have shaded in gray. These are the areas that are for this special audit not applicable. And where you see the dashes, there is no threshold set, which means the companies that want to become, for example, IRIS certified, that you do not need to meet any enabler score to be IRIS certified. They just have to pass the audit with no corrective actions, or that if they had corrective actions, they are able to close them after the audit and then will be IRIS certified. And with this, I'm now at the end of my presentation. I thank you for listening. I hope that I clearly explained the topics I wanted to address, and hand now over to Anish for the question and answer session.
Thank you very much, Ursula, for the very interesting and detailed overview on the changes made. I think it was very clear. Just as a reminder, before we go into the question and answer session, please join us at Menti by using code 89956648. Or scan the code on the bottom right-hand side to ask your questions, and we will have now the time with the dedicated people here to provide answers. So just before we go into the questions, I just wanted to tell you again the scores of the first question. So it's about just under 60% that have not yet read the new edition. So I think what Ursula provided you now is a good baseline, and now is to go back and read it and connect the dots. So let's go now back into the Q&A session. The first question for Ursula. In fact, to be honest with you, I think the most of the questions are for you. Okay. The first one being 7.9, closure review. Does this mean that the auditor will provide a list of proposals and later the organization commits to implement at least one of them?
Yes. That here is no change. In the past, it was almost, let's say more or less, the auditor was imposing improvement actions, and the organization were saying yes, we are doing it. Just let's say to finish the audit and keep the auditor happy. But it is really that way, as the question was. There shall be an alignment between the organization and the audit team on the improvement actions. So sometimes it might make sense that an auditor is imposing this improvement action, but as he or she is not, let's say, working in the organization and maybe cannot oversee which cost may be involved or which amount of work. So we really recommend that there is an alignment. Ideally, this alignment is already achieved during the audit and can be fixed in the closing meeting, but that is what shall be intended. But for me, it is important not the time when this agreement is done. For me, it is important that the agreement is done.
Perfect. Thank you, Ursula. Now I'll go out of sequence because I think a few more questions just came in. One about one of the last slides you've just presented, the restriction regarding the QPL during a transfer audit.
Yes.
Is it only from silver to gold, or is it also from bronze to silver and not certified to bronze?
It's from silver to gold. It's only from silver to gold.
Okay, I think that's clear. What is the date of the application of the second revision? I think I can already say it's the date of the publication, so the 15th of January. Ursula, can you please clarify again the auditor qualification for railway coaches and network?
You mean vehicles? Vehicle and
Vehicles. Sorry. The person who
yeah.
asked
So
asked
it
the
is
question
yeah.
made
So
yeah.
as soon as an auditor has achieved all the levels below, then they can achieve a railway vehicle or railway network. And as far as I see, I have only a very small print in front of me. For the railway vehicle, all the six scopes below are applicable, and for the railway network, it's the five the only one that is except is guidance. Yeah, here you can see. So for railway network, you need to have systems, electrical, mechanical, electronical, and components. And for railway vehicles, it's guidance, systems, electrical, mechanical, electronical, and components. So only for these 6 or 7 scopes, there will be, let's say, routes in place how to achieve them. The rest, the railway vehicle and the railway network, is then an outcome. There is no, let's say, specific process case study or exam or whatever necessary. This just happens as soon as all the scopes below are acquired.
Perfect, Ursula. Whilst we're on this slide already, I just found another question regarding 4.5. So it says 4.5 product scopes. Which scope corresponds to a signaling company that designs, installs, and maintains railway signaling with integration products? Is this too much of a detailed example for
It's
this
quite
session?
detailed, but
Yeah.
I assume it's a railway network.
Okay, thank you. I have read
If this
neither.
question, sorry.
Sorry.
If this question was not properly answered, please feel free to send me an email. Then that I have a better understanding and can answer.
Perfect.
So I will do.
Thanks, Ursula. This one I can answer. I have not read neither edition 1 nor edition 2.
Okay.
Okay, so I see what you have to do. Is it in a document? Is it in this document where I can find officially the KO questions? Thanks and best regards. So in fact, no, well, partially, but
Yeah,
the
yes.
official,
The KO
official
questions
full.
yeah. Yeah, the KO
Go ahead.
questions
Go
are
ahead.
mentioned in the document. So you can find
Yes.
their, let's say, their exact number, but this exact number and let's say the phrase of the KO question, this is only available in the assessment sheet, which is part of the audit tool.
Yes, and in fact, it's 2.6.1, the number, and it says IRIS Certification Performance Assessment in its latest edition. So I hope that answers your question. Thanks for mentioning your name in the question too. Okay, an easy one for you, Ursula. In simplified version, so performance evaluation needed to be carried out. So I rephrase, do you need? Yes, that's the question.
No, you don't need. This you can also see in the last slide with the table. That is in table. This is table 18 in the edition 2.
Yes, Alina, if you go to the last slide, we will see it. The one with the QPL at the end.
My last
number 35.
Slide.
Yes, yeah. Perfect. So are you sharing this presentation and so on afterwards? Absolutely. So we will share this. This is being recorded, so we will share this on our YouTube, social media, and of course, everyone who has registered for this event will receive an email with the respective slides and video. So in fact, there were 700 people who registered, from which a majority have also have taken part today. So thank you all for also taking part. Let me carry on. Will the changes be here? Yes, they will be shown. Okay. Ursula, again for you. It now becomes apparent in the course of the next audit that that if there's a committed improvement action, if it's not feasible, is it then sufficient to justify accordingly in order to prevent a car?
What does feasible mean? I do not know the word.
So I would understand it as they are
Try to
not
explain it.
able. They are not able to commit to the car to the improvement action. They were not
But
able to
as already
improve.
mentioned, the commitment shall be ideally done at the during the closure meeting of the audit, or let's say a short time afterwards. So at that time, I expect that the organization is able to assess if they can realize this or implement this improvement action in 1 year's time. If they don't do it, it will be, as already explained, it will become a car, and it will become and there will be another car related to this continuous improvement. That's why I really recommend that there is alignment between the audit team and the company, which improvement actions they are going to implement. And when they really, let's say, okay, we can do it, then it is also expected that they do it. There is no way to let's say, prevent the car.
Thank you very much, Ursula. So I'm just going through the different questions. Again, if you have detailed, specific questions and you are an auditor asking about your own qualification, okay, because I see 3 or 4 questions, please contact your sponsor certification body, and then they will contact the IRIS Management Center and Ursula for the specific question. We won't go into the details now, if you lost a qualification or not. So please write to your sponsor certification body if you are an auditor and you have a question about your own scope of qualification. Thank you. Okay, a little bit of a basic question, Ursula, but it's good to go through the basics from time to time. So in the enablers, there are a few closed questions where there is yes, no, and poor. If I give poor, is it a minor car?
Once again, can you please repeat this question?
Yes. So now we have, we have, I will rephrase it. We have now basic questions with yes,
it is. These
no,
are the
and poor.
these are the closed that are the
Exactly.
ISO that
Exactly.
are the ISO 9001 questions. And here,
Exactly.
then for these, it is possible that to raise also a minor. So if it is a closed question from the ISO 9001, here it is possible to raise a minor. It's not mandatorily a major. That was the answer, right?
Absolutely. So the answer is yes.
Yeah.
We have, okay. 1 second. I'm looking live at all the questions. Do I understand it correctly? A non-implementation of an agreed improvement action results in a corrective action by default.
And in two corrective actions. One related to the issue and one related to, what is it, continuous improvement, I think.
Improvements. Perfect. So the answer
continual
is yes.
Improvement. The correct term is continual improvement.
If you can go, Alina, please, to the last table of Ursula, the one we were just at regarding the QPL. There were a few questions about what is, let me read the last one I saw. What is the difference between IRIS certified and simplified?
IRIS certified.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's okay, carry on. Yeah.
IRIS certified means full IRIS certification, but with scores below the ones that are necessary for bronze quality performance level. As you can see here in the table, the minimum for the enablers to achieve a bronze, for example, is 67%, and the organization needs to achieve 70% in the performance evaluation to be eligible for the bronze quality performance levels, besides other things. For IRIS certified, there are no thresholds. It just needs the audit needs to be successfully passed, or if there are non-conformities, these need to be closed. But there are no requirements related to the enablers need to be met. For the simplified, it's different because the simplified have reduced requirements. So for the simplified, there are a lot of requirements not fully applicable or not applicable at all. And there is no, let's say, the performance assessment and the customer perception does not need to be performed. So the simplified approach is really for the small organizations that meet the turnover and headcount requirements that I have presented earlier today, and they have really reduced requirements. So IRIS certified is full audit, but no requirements related to the scorings. And simplified is past the simplified approach, but also without any enablers. But this is it's a simplified, reduced the content of the audit.
Perfect. Then let me see. I've seen 5 to 10 questions about the second edition and how to obtain it again. Mostly for network licenses. So if you have, or if you have a network license in edition 1, you will receive a network license in edition 2. Okay, without having to do anything. If you want a network license, please go to the IRIS portal, go to the shop, go to the IRIS Certification Performance Assessment 2023 section, scroll all the way down to network license, and then you will find an email. It starts with distribution, and then you can email this mailbox, and you will then seamlessly start the process to obtain a edition 2 network license. For all people who have received an edition 1 publication, will automatically receive an edition 2. If you haven't already, please contact the Info IRIS mailbox and we will get it to you quite quickly. As I'm already speaking, I see a few for my other topics as well. Let me just refresh the page. I see some, yes, okay. So I saw your comments. Thank you very much. We will indeed correct in the audit tool quite quickly the product scope text, which will be now aligned to that of the template that is updated on the IRIS portal. Okay, show more questions. Okay, I think I have a last one for Ursula, last two for Ursula. Let me just scroll down. Okay, I have the last two for Ursula. The first being generic about guidelines. Okay, maybe you can just give a small update because people are saying yes, indeed, it's correct. The last guidelines I think were from 2022. Yes. Someone said, and is there a strategy about updating them and so on and so forth? Thank you very much.
Okay, IRQB has already started to update all the guidelines. So the working groups have started their work, and I personally do not know let's say the time frame for this when it will be finished, but I can tell you that all the guidelines are now under reconstruction, updating, or whatever is necessary to put them back in place. So some will be quicker, some as the changes are not too complex. For some it will make some time, but you can all expect that the guidelines will be updated continuously in the next months.
Okay, perfect. And thank you very much, Ursula. I'm just finding the last one. Where was it? Okay, it was regarding, one second, review. Yes. 2 hours, I remember. Yeah. So regarding the 2 hours for both opening meeting and closing meeting, does it mean that the duration of opening and closing meeting may be 40 minutes maximum if there are 3 auditors in the audit team?
Yes.
So I think that's the clear answer. And without further ado, I would then, before going on to the next slide, I would just explain what Ursula pointed out before. If you see that your question was not answered, or you have more questions or any questions or questions raised in the future, please don't hesitate to contact any of us from the IRIS Management Center. If you do not know who to specifically give the email to, you can also send an email to the Info IRIS mailbox, which is our generic mailbox managed by the team. This you can find on the IRIS portal alongside the IRIS Management Center's team member emails. So on the next slide, we will just give you a little bit of thanks for joining us. In fact, just so you know, just around 400 people participated in this webinar, with a few hundred more registrations, which is quite normal for an event. So this is quite a good achievement. So thank you very much for joining us. To the left, you will see a QR code to follow us on LinkedIn. This is where you will also get the latest updates, the events we're going to be participating in, future webinars, and so on. And then on the right, more importantly, please scan the QR code on the right to already plan and register for the next IRIS certification webinar on the 1st of April 2025, which will be specifically planned exactly 365 days, 1 year after the start of the implementation of IRIS certification revision 4. So I give you a few minutes or moments to scan the QR code on the right to join the anniversary webinar, where we will go into the detailed specificities of the implementation of the revision 4. We'll focus on the statistical analysis, return of experience. We will also have testimonials from auditors, companies, organizations, and certification bodies. So we'll have a big webinar commemorating the 1 year anniversary. Yes, Ursula?
Can you also please address the same information in Mandarin, please?
Yes, but
this might be interesting for Chinese colleagues and.
Yes. So we will do this also in parallel. Thank you. So that means if you have any further questions and inquiries, please also, again, as I repeat, because it's important, don't hesitate to contact any of us. Please also expect very soon, today, by end of business, in Brussels, where we're located, to get an email with the recording, the slides, and also the registration link for the next webinar. Thank you very much. We wish you a great start to the week, and looking forward to seeing you latest on the 1st of April, but even before would be better. Thank you very much.